Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. Just trying to get everything up and running this morning. And we're almost on time, so that's not too bad. And looking forward to being with you this April the 2nd, not April the 1st, but we will have some April the 1st stories during the show today. So I hope nobody was tricked too badly yesterday like I was this morning, but we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. We have weather, we have sports. The Sudbury Wolves were in action last night. Third game, they were up 2-0 against the Mississauga Steelheads, and then they faced them again last night. First home game in the playoff series for the Sudbury Wolves. Did not end too well, if you wanted the Wolves to win, that is. But we'll have more on that when we come back. I know Billy's going to be on the show, and he was at the game last night. We'll have a really great chat about that. But let's just get diving right into everything. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM. We're also streaming at cklu.ca. You can click on the Radio Player Canada app. You can download the Radio Player Canada app. Take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. Also, we're streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. Mainly comment, though, on those two platforms, because that's where we get a chance to read your comments, have a conversation with you. And if we're then moving on in the show, and we don't have much time left or whatever, because we have to do a show other than just have a conversation. That's one part of it. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching. And you can watch the shows on demand on facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News after if you missed the show. So that's always good too. All right, so let's dive right in. We got a little bit of weather to kick us off. We'll come back with some sports. We'll have Billy on that segment right after, and we'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. And Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. As usual, it's currently -3 degrees out there. And it feels like -8. It's partly cloudy, and there's a weather statement. So I heard a little bit about this at work yesterday. I was in denial, but I guess I'm not in denial anymore now that I see this. As of 5:31 a.m. this morning, Tuesday, April the 2nd, 2024, there is a special weather statement in effect for Greater Sudbury and vicinity. Early spring storm expected to bring strong winds, rain, and the potential for significant snow tonight through Thursday. Wow, that's a lot of snow. Tonight is only Tuesday. And then all the way till Thursday. This isn't good.
That's not one of those April Fool's jokes, eh?
Oh, I hope not, because this is April 2nd. This is Environment Canada, so I don't know. A Colorado low is expected to begin affecting the region tonight. Precipitation is expected to begin as rain, transforming to snow Wednesday morning. Snow, which may be heavy at times, is expected to continue through Wednesday night, easing through the day Thursday. Significant snowfall accumulations are possible, but the time snow begins to ease, by the time snow begins to ease on Thursday. So anyways, there's lots of snow before it slows down. Strong easterly winds will develop tonight, with winds gusting to 70 kilometers, possibly 80 kilometers for Manitoulin Island and areas along the North Shore. The winds will ease on Wednesday afternoon. Impacts, so the power outages may be possible. That's always good. And travel may become hazardous due to accumulating snow and reduced visibility. Confidence is low as there remains a high degree of uncertainty with the low's track, which will have significant impacts on temperatures, snowfall amounts, and when rain will transition to snow. So this is basically what they're saying. It could be anything. We're saying it could be all rain. We don't know when it's going to transition to snow, how much snow there's going to be. We don't know when the temperatures are going to change. It's all up in the air. So lucky us, we didn't really escape unscathed with the wonderful winter that we had with very little snow and very little storms and things like that. But we're going to get it now. All right. Today, sunny, becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon, and then 30 kilometers to 60 gusting this morning, a high of 8. Wind chill will feel like minus 10 in the morning. Tonight, cloudy, snow beginning this evening, as we said, and then mix of rain late this evening. Snowfall amount, they're saying about 5 centimeters, they're predicting, and wind will be gusting to 40 and 60 near midnight. Low of 0. Wednesday, snow becoming mixed with periods of rain in the afternoon. Snowfall amounts 5 to 10 centimeters. Yucky. So yucky. That's all I got to say. So again, we know what it is tomorrow and Thursday predicted already. Friday, then cloudy. And then here we go again. They're doing it. They're doing it again. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, sunny. 10, 13, and 12. So we know how the last thing went. And remember the predictions, Billy, when we had the last time where we said it was 3
days,
sunny days?
What did it turn out to be?
It ended up being 2 half days of mix of sun and cloud. No days of just pure sun as it's showing here.
Right.
Like it did last week, too, when Billy was on, last Tuesday. So I predicted there would be maybe one day at the least. At the most 1 day sunny. And there wasn't. Like yesterday, you couldn't say it was, or the day before even, Sunday, you couldn't say it was sunny. It was partly sunny. Like there was more cloud. When I looked up in the sky, there was more clouds than there was blue. So the sun was coming through, but it wasn't sunny per se.
Yeah. It seems to err on that side. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And there's reasons for that, and we've talked about it many times on the show, and we will continue to talk about it in the future. Geoengineering, our solution, one of our solutions, global solutions for the climate change theory of cooling down the earth with spray from jet planes. And lucky us. We're not sure all the things. Well, we have done tests, and we do know there's a lot of caca in the exhaust that's being put over us that then makes the days cloudy and we have less sunny days. And we'll see here. So again, we'll come back next week when Billy's on and we'll say, okay, how many sunny days did we have? It said Saturday, Sunday, Monday, total sun. Didn't even have a cloud in the forecast. I'm saying we might be lucky to get one again. Not even though, there'll still be clouds in the sky. But anyways, that's a look at your satellite right now. Speaking of no clouds, they're all coming from below with that system that's going to hit us like a bag of hammers. Anyways, we'll be back with sports. Speaking of bag of hammers and being hit, about the Mississauga Ice Dogs in town, Mississauga Steelheads in town facing the Sudbury Wolves. We'll be back right after this. And we'd like to officially welcome Billy to the show on camera. We've had him, talking about the weather and the predictions and all that jazz already. But Billy, you were at the Wolves game last night, and they came into this series, the Mississauga Steelheads were ahead of them in the standings, and so they got home ice advantage. But the Wolves pulled off 2 wins on the road. And then last night was our first home playoff game. We were ahead 2-0 in the series. What ended up happening?
Well, it was a pretty close game, but the Mississauga, what'd they get? Yeah, they kind of squeaked through the whole game, and the Wolves just could not catch up.
Yeah, they were up 2-0 early, the Mississauga Steelheads. And then the Wolves, surprisingly, thanks to the refs helping them out, came back and scored 2 and tied it up. And then Steelheads, because out of the 4 goals it ended up being for Mississauga. There was an empty netter at the end, so it was 4-2 at the end. But 3 of those were turnovers from our Sudbury Wolves. So basically, the Sudbury Wolves got assists on 3 of those 4 goals, at least. And that's not going to help you win games at all. And if it wasn't for the officiating, which was very much on Sudbury's side, I watched last night, and it's something I'm able to do. I'm going for the Sudbury Wolves, but I'm still able to see when they're catching a break from the refs. It's not only the other team. You know, I'm always like, oh, they're against our team, like a lot of people do or whatever.
I appreciate that. That's very honorable, you know?
Yeah.
I love seeing good sportsmanship. That's what that's what the league needs.
Well, we definitely, if we would have, you know, and I was like, man, this is like, you can't take your foot off the gas. You got a 2-0 lead. This is where you really got to give her. You know, you can't play around with these things. Now, the next game they play, if Mississauga wins, we're tied all up again. And your 2-0 lead in the series is zippo. It doesn't matter anymore. So you can't be doing this kind of stuff. You can't be turning it over and saying, here you go. Vondras played a great game last night for the Sudbury Wolves. Made some outstanding saves. So it wasn't on his part for what happened in the game last night. So
yeah, they just didn't look like that machine they look like sometimes, you know, where there's like the passes just don't connect and the puck bounces a lot and just game kind of flops through.
So the next game, hopefully the Wolves will realize their turnover ways, and it's a great dessert, but it's not good in hockey, turnovers. So it won't be in their favor if they continue doing that. And, you know, Mississauga was out without their number 1 goalie too, and they were still able to get her done. So what does that mean? They might go with this other goalie who seemed to be pretty hot last night. And
He was.
Yeah. And it was pretty packed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a lot of people there. It wasn't like we didn't have much attendance, but I did notice the games in Mississauga weren't that well attended. And that's probably why they're moving to Brampton next year. The Brampton Steelheads, they will be called. And yes, and Miles was saying the Ice Dogs are now in Niagara or St. Catharines. So they are the Niagara Ice Dogs. But I always slip up with those 2 teams because I think it used to be the Mississauga Ice Dogs. And I thought that the now canceled Don Cherry owned that team, or at least was a part owner in it before. But that's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.ca. We'll be back with some interesting news headlines. And there's always a lot of things going on in this city, and which will also, if you're not from Sudbury, I think you'll still find entertaining. So regardless of where you're watching from the world, I think there's some things that you can also relate to. So we'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. All right, so we got a lot of people on this morning, as far as I know, and there usually is by this point in time, but I do need to officially get it up on here on our monitor so I can double check there. Billy, did you have a good Easter long weekend by any chance?
It was pretty fantastic. A couple meals, you know, the whole some family get-togethers. So it was my classic quintessential experience, actually. How was yours?
Classic quintessential experience. Well,
yeah, when I look at my life and I think of an Easter, weekend, that was like
it was the Easter
the full
week.
package. Yeah,
right on. It didn't disappoint.
Yeah,
good. And I hope everyone else had a good Easter weekend as well. And mine was pretty on par, like you said, pretty what you would expect from an Easter weekend, minus any family get together, because my mom's actually coming out of town this week for radiation in Sudbury, and so usually I would go up there as part of Easter or whatever. But because I knew she was coming actually today, we were going to do something when she comes up. So my Easter weekend isn't over yet. So looking forward to spending time with her when she comes down. Here we got Nancy, first to the party on YouTube. Nancy, good morning. Aaron and Billy. Marianne, good morning from Barrie. Liked and shared as usual. Judy, good morning. Thank you guys for being on. Sheila, good morning from Quebec. Good morning, Sheila. Bon matin, as they say. And Claire is joining us this morning. Good morning, Claire. Denise, blessings from Espanola. And Jerome, he's in Chelmsford. You never know where he's going to be popping up. And so he's in Chelmsford this morning. Brian, good morning, campers. And good morning, Brian. Claire says, sorry, can't share for 3 more days. Got that Facebook jail thing going on, maybe. Okay, sorry about the sniffles. It's that time of year. Here comes Old Man Winter. Yes, morning, Vin. Thanks for being on. And Belinda, usually a positive statement of the day. Good morning to you. And control your mind, and you may never be controlled by the mind of another. Time to take our control. Heart emoji.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think controlling your mind is a good thing. And that's why a lot of people say, hey, do you do this every once in a while, just for fun or whatever? And it's like, well, no, not anymore. I do like being in control of my mind. It's one of those things. I just, maybe it's my age. I don't know. I just really do like not like having the feeling of being in control and not the opposite. Not in control of my own mind.
I think the longer you live, the more you come to realize the importance of that. You know, when you're younger, you kind of have a little more idealistic sort of view of things, and that's maybe that's the whole side of these other people are sort of taking care of me. It's like, well, as time goes on, it's like, well, comes down to myself.
Yeah, and you see how that goes for you, right? Like when you put your life in someone else's hands. It could be like taking substances too. You're not in control of your own mind, and that's one thing. But also, like you were saying, in relationships, when you give your power over to other people and you allow them to kind of think for you or do things for you. And in ours, we'll talk a little bit today about allowing, even on a bigger scale, our government to do things for us and hoping they're going to have solutions and stuff, right? On a bigger scale. It's similar to doing that in your own relationships and things. It usually ends up where you're at the short end of the stick, so to speak.
Yeah. It's like when you do a class project. At first, when you go into class projects, you think, this is awesome. Because you can have all these people working on something. But then eventually, if you want to get beyond, you start to realize, well, not everyone's on the same page as you and wants to go where you want to go.
Exactly. And so it's good when you're in the driver's seat of your own destiny. Thanks a lot for that, Belinda. Much appreciated as usual. And Monique, good morning. Good day, everyone. Exclamation point. Bob Zenob is on this morning. Thanks for joining us, Bob. The GOAT morning boys. And Vin, weather is going to throw off the smelt run this year. Never even thought of that. That's interesting. The weather, I was wondering what the weather's going to do, and including mosquitoes coming up. Like, is that going to make more mosquitoes or less mosquitoes, just the weather we've had all winter? We'll have to get someone who knows. Monique, good morning. Sudbury, smiley emoji, good morning. Mike Perron, good morning all, exclamation point. And Mona, good morning. Sheila, time to find out exactly what they're spraying, for sure. There is this documentary that I'm going to continue to play out on the show eventually. I'm just doing it in segments, and when we have time, they have gone out and taken some samples and things, and they do know at least the substances that were found in the vapor trails that they sampled. So, and we can only speculate that maybe we're also getting the same up here, or we're not 100% sure, but gives us some indication anyways. Mississauga Ice Dogs, didn't Don Cherry own that team? Yes, exactly. There we go. We're a little behind on the conversation now, but for sure, thank you very much. Got some stuff about Mississauga here, Steelheads and the Niagara Ice Dogs now. Yeah, they definitely, that's the way they're playing, Miles. Looks like Mississauga had neutral zone trap plan, which normally causes turnovers. Oh, there you go. So it was part of the plan all along. Shirley, good morning from Cape Real. That's a great place, Cape Real. You ever been there?
Yeah.
Yes, I like it.
Me too.
And definitely protect the brain when you want to be kind of self-reliant and be aware all the time, as Belinda's positive statement of the day was alluding to. Debbie, good morning, smiley emoji. Denise, and good morning to you. Denise, a lot of people went out and already got smelts. I don't know if they're going to run again. I think they only run once. Okay, we got the smelters on this morning. And Denise says, good morning, everyone. All have a beautiful sunny day. Until the wicked snowstorm of our season comes later on. Louise, good morning, good happy morning. Good morning, Louise. And Marianne says, hoping, okay, yes. Good morning, okay. Is that a squirrel we're hearing?
I thought it might be a cat.
Okay, good, that's fine, it's okay. There was a squirrel upstairs this morning in our area. And we, entomologist Miles is saying regarding mosquitoes. So that's who looks after mosquitoes. If we ever want to know, we got to get an entomologist on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, we got squirrels here. And I got to put out the new cage that we got that we thought he was gone. And we dismantled it, but we're going to have to pull it out and dust it off and put it back into commission. And yesterday was April Fool's. And this morning I got a story that was put out yesterday, came across my feed, and it was the Sudbury Star playing an April Fool's joke on us. Anyways, they got me because I was asking Billy if he heard about it. This morning, and he said, "Did you check the author of that story at all?" And so I went and it said, "Published April 1st." That's all I had to see. Okay. Oh no. And the headline was, "All aboard! Sudbury downtown rail yard is moving to Coniston." I was so ready to just talk about this. This should have happened years ago, and what are they going to do to clean up the downtown with all of the the environmental issues it's going to have and whatever. And they redid the bridge, and they didn't really have to because it's not going to be train tracks anymore. Oh man, was I ready to go off on it. So anyways, the whole idea of this story was they're going to be moving the rail yard from downtown to Coniston.
Well, that'd be pretty awesome.
I know. And then I also had some critique on the story itself. It sounded like they were selling it to the citizens of Coniston. Coniston, you're going to get 150 new jobs. Oh, just think of it. You'll be able to come out of the arena and you'll be able to see all the trains going by. It was like over the top. As if I was like, I don't know if everyone in Coniston feels like that. They're probably thinking that's going to ruin Coniston, whatever, so much industrial,
Yeah. I lived beside that
trains.
train yard downtown for a couple of years. Yeah.
How did you like it?
Pretty horrible.
It is not the greatest.
Yeah. They have, what do they call it when they
They attach?
They attach, disattach, but
Loud.
a lot of bang, 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 bang,
Oh,
bang, bang.
yeah, that's loud.
Yeah.
So anyone who hasn't been to Sudbury, like our downtown, there's a good chunk of it that's just rail. It's a rail yard, and it's been there since rail was invented, pretty much. Sudbury was formed many years ago as a small mining town. It wasn't meant to be a city, I don't think. It was probably just a mining outpost. And so a lot of rails in our downtown, but it takes up a lot of pretty good real estate downtown. It's half the downtown almost, pretty much, because it's not just the width, it's the length of it too. It kind of runs all the way from, Ontario Street kind of thing, all the way over to, John Street, Morris.
Yeah, it's
That
hard to
area.
imagine if that wasn't there, what they could do with that land.
Yeah, no, for sure. Think of that. Think of the arena downtown, the parking that would be available. You could build that arena right on that site. You wouldn't even have to tear down anything. It would just be arena, parking. It would be right there by the bridge. You come over the bridge, you just look right into the arena. You can almost, if you made it all glass, you can see the Wolves playing as you're driving over the bridge kind of thing, looking down into the ice. So cool. Like, it would be just amazing.
Make everything translucent in the building.
Ooh, yes. The whole building, when they're playing, it would just light.
Chairs, the boards, everything.
Oh, everything's lit up. I don't know if we should be part of the planning of the city at all, Billy. Some things might get a little silly. So, as people might know, we are also, what isn't an April Fool's? So that was April Fool's. So not true. We're not moving the rail yard from downtown to Coniston. That was a April Fool's joke that Sudbury Star was playing on the citizens of Sudbury and me this morning. So got me. And anyways, Robert, just because I'm seeing you on here for the first time, says, and good morning, by the way, there were a bunch of cops and ambulances at Onaping Falls on Sunday, closing access. Anyone know what was going on? Well, yes, I do believe we do know what was going on. And Sudbury.com covered that. It says, police track down man in distress at A.Y. Jackson Lookout. Is that what we're talking about in Onaping?
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Greater Sudbury police were able to successfully track down a man in distress at the A.Y. Jackson Lookout Trail System Sunday. Staff Sergeant Chris Brown said Greater Sudbury police got a call about a man who seemed to be having a medical concern at around 10:30 a.m. Sunday morning. The area was contained, as Robert was pointing out, and an initial search failed to locate the individual. But while police were still on the scene, they observed him from a distance within the trail system. He actively evaded the officers who were trying to make contact with him, says the Staff Sergeant Brown. After a very lengthy canine track, the man was located in good condition around 7 p.m. Sunday. So 10:30 to 7 p.m., that's most of the day would have been taken with this particular incident, and it looked like it ended favorably for all parties. Maybe not anybody who was hoping to go for a walk on the trail because it was blocked off for people. So there you go. That's what happened there. And keeping with Sudbury.com, what was not a April Fool's joke were the speed cameras that came in Sudbury recently. Billy, have you driven through any of these particular speed camera areas yet?
Yes, I have. The Garrison one, I noticed there's a particular culture that's formed around the speed cameras, and that is to actually, people do slow down a little bit before them. I noticed coming in, it has slowed down, but particularly where the speed cameras are, it's like you could just see everyone, the brake lights light up, everyone slows right down to 60.
Okay.
I'll go 300 meters at 60. And then I think when you're in the clear, everyone, hits the gas like the reverse brake lights.
Just like one would anticipate, just like human nature would suggest, right? So everybody's going their regular speed right up until this point, and then right away just kind of going that speed. You said 300 meters. Is that how long it is around?
I'm not a good judge of distance, but plus or minus.
Okay. It's around there. So yeah, it is true. It doesn't last forever. A friend of mine, Dave, was saying, I thought it was that whole strip, like the whole, strip from, what was it? Credit Union all the way to the lights to the Maley extension kind of thing, but it's not. And I should have known that because it says the streets where it starts and stops in all of the news reports and on the city's website. But there's also a culture of taking care of these. I got a picture sent to me yesterday of that very whatever that machine is that's taking the pictures or whatever of your license plate, and it was knocked right over. It was right on its face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
you think they have a camera on that? You think they had the foresight to go, you know what's going to happen here? We should put a camera aiming at this thing. Hidden camera somewhere.
Well, that's what I thought too. But I guess there's not, because, also the one in the valley, I know it had a bag over it like the first day, like someone put a bag and duct taped the bag. Then they spray painted it.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, as Sudbury.com.
I would bet that they do.
They have a camera
That's
on it?
what I would do if I was police chief. I would put and again, I would just play along like there's no camera and pretend to do an investigation. You don't really know who it is. Let it go for a week or two, and then, you could nab the guy or whoever and say you sleuthed it out, but
We got you.
yeah.
So, yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. But I get this feeling that they're not 100% legal, these things, and they're just they're just getting by. And as long as we go along with it, they will be there. So I don't know, again, right, if you have, is it city property? Like the police aren't even servicing these things. Like if someone reports one of these vandalized, the police says it's not our property, so we don't even cover. If someone calls the police and says these things have been vandalized, the police say, well, that's not our jurisdiction. It's not up to us. Mm-hmm. So something weird. There's something weird here with these things. Now I know Ottawa. Oh my goodness, the whole city it's just like cockroaches in Ottawa. They're everywhere. These cameras. And I had a video someone sent me, and I'm going to play it on another show, where the guy got a ticket by accident. Like it got it wrong, so he turned right on. You know how you can turn right on a red, like in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
So he stops at the red light. He waits like 2-3 seconds, and then he turns right. Well, the camera dinged him as if he went through the red light. $360 or something fine. So he calls. The guy looks it up. He says, yeah, I could see. We made a mistake. He goes, okay, well, can you just reverse it or, No. It's like, what? No, you got to fight the ticket. You got the 3 options, just like you do a speeding ticket or whatever. You can pay it. You can go to court and fight it, or you can try and reduce the amount with an excuse. That's it. You got the 3 options. And he's like, are you for real? I got to take a day off work now? Either I pay it, which I don't want to pay it, or I got to go in and explain it, which I do still have to take time off work because you're not on weekends. You can't meet people in the evening or on weekends. It's only during office hours. Or I got to go to court all day and fight it. And of course, what's going to happen? You're going to prove it. The judge is going to go, oh yeah, you're right. You don't owe anything. But after all that, are they going to reimburse you for what you lost at work, or you know what I mean? No. So this is kind of interesting. If this starts happening here, I just don't even know if we want to start going down this road. Like Nick was saying, is this good for community spirit or whatever? Does this help us feel, a little bit more sense of community?
Yeah, I would much prefer another way.
Yeah, me too. So vandalized speed trap cameras cleaned, repaired quickly, and they are. So whoever's looking after this is not the police. Tipping them over, prying them open, covering them with eggs, garbage bags, duct tape, shaving cream, spray paint, you name it, placing a microwave on them.
I guess since you bring that up, that it's not part of the police, so it is a separate, third-party company kind of thing.
Like it's partnership with the city and whoever's doing this kind of thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if the police, like, what their sort of take on these things are. Is it like cashiers when they bring in self-checkout? The cashiers are like, hey, this is kind of infringing on our territory. Like, maybe it's not like a really friendly relationship. Well, I shouldn't say unfriendly relationship, but you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that as things get more automated, people have to consider the implications, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So those are all the things. Those are the things I just read from the story. Those are all the things that it's only been around a couple of weeks. And there's already all these things happening to these whatever they're called. They're what are they? They're not just. It's just
Speed
kind of
cameras.
The unit. It's like it looks like, I don't know.
I just heard them called speed cameras.
Yeah, but it's like a big box kind of thing with a camera in it, right? So I don't know what the unit is called itself, but so placing a microwave on it that took the cake. It was like, I thought this would be interesting, if we made a Facebook page of all the creative ways that people dressed up these cameras, these units, and it was like, who could be the most creative kind of thing, and could that be like another culture that started here in the city? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to do that. I'm just saying that'd be interesting.
That'd be interesting if Facebook lets that go, yeah.
Placing a microwave on them. And for some reason, frustrated area residents have deployed all manner of things to disable the 6 automated speed enforcement cameras installed recently throughout the city of Greater Sudbury. In every case to date, they've been repaired fairly quickly, which is, I've heard, just like within a matter of an hour or something after being done. City Linear Infrastructure Services Director Joe Rocca told Sudbury.com. The vendor has been pretty prompt in cleaning and repairing the devices. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Why would they
see
be
an
pretty
interview.
prompt?
There was a clip, and he's talking about the, I guess, potential for upcoming vandalism.
Yeah.
You can tell he's been through this. He's just like totally unemotionally phased by it. So he's just very, well, we've got the
resources. And
we've got systems in place to deal with vandalism.
They do, because it's done quick. And Sudbury's not like a small city geographically, like to get around, right? And I wonder if these guys are speeding when they're going to these cameras to fix them.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I was them, I would just make them like little dummy cameras and put the real speed camera like
somewhere else
on a pole somewhere.
Yeah,
little
exactly. Don't give
microchip camera.
Well, there you go. We're giving ideas to both sides here. So there you are. We're helping. We're unbiased when it comes to this stuff. So yeah, they're pretty prompt getting there. Again, they're probably. I hope they're not speeding in their promptness. Adding that it's the city's expectation they will continue to be repaired soon after each case of vandalism. Area residents began egging the cameras early last month, even before they were turned on. All right. Well, that's interesting. I wonder how the future of these speed cameras will play out. Will they put cameras on the cameras? Will the police indeed say, well, maybe we do have to do something to these creative vandalizers?
Yeah. This is kind of how most dystopian movies kind of start out, right? With like Hunger Games, it's the outskirts. They damage the Empire's infrastructure. And,
yeah. But then
the Empire strikes back.
The Empire Strikes Back, exactly. And that's exactly why that is named that way, because that's the storyline of that series as well, Star Wars. Because you have the rebels and you have the, what are they called again? The
Stormtroopers?
Well, yeah, like that's their police, right? That's like their RCMP or whatever. But the Emperor and the establishment, if you will, in Star Wars. There's a name for it, but I kind of forget now.
I'm going to go with Empire.
Oh, yes, that's what it is. Yeah. The Empire. And they struck back, apparently, against the rebels who were trying to cause a stir. But who are the good guys in that movie? Or in that series or in that book series?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, it's funny how, I don't know, kind of a lot of movies do a good job of sort of fluctuating it back and forth. I don't think you can ever say there's always, rebels are always the good guys. What's that line about one person's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter?
Mm-hmm. So. I know. Who's the good guys in a war? Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It depends what country you're sitting in at the time with the news from what country you're seeing.
That's right. Where the balance of injustice lays.
Kind of thing, exactly. So, and what was also not a April Fool's joke or whatever. I thought there might be another thing on Sudbury.com here, though. Give me 1 second. Yeah, minimum wage is going up this fall. Did you know that?
No.
I just found out this morning.
It's going up to.
Well, take a guess. What would you think it would go up to if it was to go up? Because now it's at what?
15 something?
1555, 1550?
Yeah. All right. 1625.
1720.
Okay.
1720 an hour.
Good for some people.
An increase of 3.9% starting this fall under the leadership of Premier Ford. Our government is helping nearly 1 million workers with even more money for themselves and their families. It's similar to what our federal government tells us with the carbon tax. You're going to get more money. The more we tax you, the more you're going to make. So when I say that statement to you, Billy, the more we tax you, the more you're going to get a rebate. Like, what goes through your mind when I say that? Like, normally, as a human being,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah. It's, I don't know if this quote is applicable because it's actually a quote about daylight savings, but something about cutting off a blanket and then sewing it on at the other end. It's like only these people would think that would work. But that's kind of the whole idea with bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how our governments typically kind of work. In a way, you can kind of, it's all there in front of you. They take it, and then a portion comes back to you.
For sure. Now, do you have your master's in economics or anything? Have you gotten that since the last time we met?
That is not the case.
Okay. So just as a regular, everyday person like myself, but I just want to see what you think. So today it's agree or disagree. Do you agree? That's our new segment we're having every Tuesday with Billy, by the way. Agree or disagree with Billy. So it's supposed to kind of rhyme, but it doesn't have the same amount of syllables. So it doesn't quite do it as good as I would have hoped. But agree or disagree with Billy. Anyway, so do you agree, Billy, that these people who are going to make these people, I hope I don't get canceled, that make $17.20 per hour will indeed have more money in their pockets at the end of the day and spending power?
I think they will.
Oh,
Yeah.
you agree?
I agree.
Interesting.
They will have more money.
Okay, so, okay, all right, they will have more money. Okay, so next question, what will happen to the things they go out and buy afterwards with their more money due to the fact that everybody's getting more wages?
Yes, this cycle, it will go up. And, I think probably looking at the reality of if it's not brought up, I think they're going to be kind of left behind, like with the rates of everything else going up. And I don't know. It's kind of a sad state right now that it sort of has to be sort of forced up. But
So let's say I'm sitting at Tim Hortons, I'm working there. I'm now getting $17.20 per hour and I go on lunch. And I'm like, I'm already here and I love my sandwich. I can make it myself.
the big corporations can afford it. It's the little guys who can't.
Sure. And Tim Hortons is a big corporation, but what's Tim Hortons going to do to their prices?
Yeah.
Right? So
They're
even
gonna
if
go
they
up.
can't afford it, they're still going to put their prices up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at work. I'm making my $17.20 per hour. I'm going to make my own sandwich. And I'm like, maybe even put a little extra cheese and nobody knows because I'm working there. Anyways, I got my sandwich. It's now costing me more because the prices are going to go up. So am I really making any more money? Because I'm getting the sandwich, now it's $1 more or $2 more than what it would have been. And then I go to the grocery store and everything is, because everyone working there all their wages went up too. So labor is 33% usually of an average company's expenses. In City of Sudbury, though, it's 66%. So go figure on that one. That's because we like paying people and work in the city.
Yeah, as I expressed, I'm not an economist, but I suspect that that's a much smaller portion of the inflationary mechanism than these governments dumping hundreds of billions into the economy in a very short amount of time. And again, the first people who get this money get the most value out of it.
Yeah.
And it's usually these people who are falling way behind, and like, man, you need a lot of jobs these days to pay the rent in a city like Sudbury.
I know, and it's not only our own
corporations aren't going to bring them up themselves.
No.
So,
but it's not only our minimum wage is going up, it's also being taxed more too. So sure, you're getting more minimum wage, but you're being taxed, 27 to 33% more. And so here's just an average dude going to explain the carbon tax, which isn't a April Fool's joke, by the way. It came out April 1st. And MPs in our country also got at least a $10,000 raise April 1st, which isn't a joke. Fifth raise in 4 years for the MPs. So I guess they're saying, well, we get $10,000 a year. We'll increase the minimum wage $2 an hour. I don't think that quite works out to $10,000 for them, though. But yeah, so as long as we're giving you a raise, we can take raises. So here's just an everyday average Joe explaining the carbon tax. I think he does an okay job, but we're going to see if Billy agrees or disagrees with him.
I'm going to break down how the carbon tax is a scam and the Liberal government is not going to like this. And I'm going to do so methodically. So first, let's start off with a lie. And this is the lie that every member of parliament is pushing, that they're putting money in your pockets. But this lie is the same thing as me telling you that I'm going to put $1,000 in your pocket after I stole $2,000. Because the reality is the carbon tax actually costs you a lot more. And what many people don't realize is it costs hundreds of millions of dollars to administer it. Let me say that to you differently. They have 500 people on staff to administer it. About half of them collect the money, and the other half are in charge of giving you the rebates from the money that they took from you. Here's the worst part. The thing with the carbon tax is it's a tax that is ingrained within taxes. And here's what I mean. It is embedded through every single part of our society. Whether you're buying furniture, whether you're buying clothes, whether you're buying food, that is embedded into the cost of that good, because guess what? It requires gas and transportation to get to the end point. That end point being you. So if you think of the compound effects of the carbon tax already happening on an input, a major economic input that then determines the price of the product that you're buying in the end, and then you get taxed on top of it, that's the compound effects of a tax on top of a tax. And this type of a tax is the worst kind there is, because it is not a simple tax on the actual purchase price. It is actually a tax that is already embedded into every single good that you are purchasing today. And that's what makes it so much more expensive and so brutal for every Canadian. It impacts almost every single major product you can think of. There is no escaping it. Absolutely no escape. In a week from now, it's going up 33%. And here's the biggest kick in the teeth. The tax is inflationary. Let me say it to you in a different way. The government is going to make you feel more pain by keeping interest rates high because of a carbon tax that Trudeau controls, which ultimately controls the interest rates not coming down at all. And the reality is it has a material impact on inflation. Do not let the government try to lie to you and tell you that the tax is not inflationary. The carbon tax is absolutely inflationary because it touches every single part, every single fabric of society, of anything that gets purchased today. Because of that, your mortgage payments are going to remain high. The cost of living is going to remain high. Prices will not come down anytime sooner. All this because of poor policy.
No, it doesn't affect illegal drugs. He said everything. But it wouldn't affect illegal drugs.
Well, possibly. You got to transport that.
Ooh,
and,
yeah, you're
there's
right.
Costs in that, you know.
Even illegal drugs. I don't even know. Okay, Billy, you've heard it from someone else, everyday average citizen, explaining the carbon tax and its effect on Canadians. Do you agree or disagree?
That guy kind of encapsulates my understanding. Yeah.
I think you agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I think it's going to be probably a pretty disastrous thing. I also wouldn't be surprised if it's actually designed to be kind of a disastrous thing, a socially engineered you're going to see. I think you're going to see a lot of political polarity shift in the near future. So, and why is it going to shift? Because people are going to be very upset.
In what ways? Like, why are people going to be very upset? They're not now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think I think it's going to get a little harder and leaner out there.
Okay.
And I think when people get really personally affected, that's when they reevaluate their positions on things.
Okay. All right. So you're thinking eventually they will say, okay, our bad. We're gonna take it back a step.
And he brings up a good point about how the cost, because I think it's going to be presented as, well, it's going to be good for the average citizen because we're going to take these, this money from these corporations, and it's going to go back to the people. But yeah, as it comes out of the corporations are going to raise their prices to cover that extra tax that they have.
Yeah.
So again, it's going to be a bit of a pile on of extra taxes.
Well, it's something we got to look forward to. Now the guy said next week in that video that it was, but it's already here. It's April 1st. It's April 2nd today. We already went through one day of it and we'll be paying it. It's a tax on a tax. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, a lot of our stuff is, eh?
Yes, there's taxes on taxes on taxes. Eventually, just like history repeats itself, this has happened many times in history where people, like you said, they've reached the point of, now, it doesn't make any sense anymore. It's just you're taxing way too much, and people will rise up and say that's enough.
There's a whole other side to this carbon tax too. It's like, what's the breakdown of what are they spending it on?
Yeah.
What's
how is it
their
solving?
Plan?
Yeah.
Is it just going to a WEF bank account or?
Yeah. So one small country, even if we are being, pillaged and 23% tax on tax, let's say half of all of our incomes in Canada went to the carbon tax. We're one small country with one small population when all of the large populations, the ones that are doing the polluting, aren't contributing to this. And so what are we actually doing to solve a global climate problem, if indeed there is one? What are we doing with our climate carbon tax, like you said, to contribute? What are we contributing to? What are we doing with it? And how is it helping the situation, really, right? Let's just ask ourselves those questions. It's just a tax. It's just a tax. All right, that's all we got time for, Billy. It's just a show, and we're done for the day. I appreciate you being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Time flies. Yesterday, we didn't have a show. It was Easter Monday and whatever. And I looked at the hour, how long it took the hour to go by. And I was like, wow, the show takes that long, but it seems like it's like 5 minutes every time. But I don't understand it. I really don't.
Good times.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for being with us. I'll be back, God willing, same time, same place tomorrow. And with more news from Sudbury and your views on the news. This is your conversation on your station, CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. Ciao, everyone.